Josh, I hope you have the Can We Dig It queued up here for this episode.
I do.
Do you know what?
Dig it!
Well done. Josh sometimes forgets which button it does what. And our guest today is all about, we're going to dig into some of what they like to do and do best, which is digging trails. So
yeah, that's good.
Can you dig it?
Can you dig it? So we've got, is it Susan or Susie? What do you prefer?
Susie.
Susie Murphy. She's the executive director of the SDMBA, San Diego Mountain Bike Association. Thank you so much, Susie. How are you today?
I'm good. Yeah. Thanks you guys for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for making time. We really appreciate it. Would you mind kind of giving us a brief overview, a little introduction of yourself?
Yeah. Well, I live in San Diego. I'm a native San Diegan, which is a rare breed.
San Diegan.
I live in Chula Vista, which is almost down by the border. So lots of good tacos.
Right.
Yes.
And I have been the executive director of, we say SDMBA or STIMBA for short, not to be confused with your Sonoran Desert Mountain Bike Association,
right?
Over in Arizona. So STIMBA, I've been in this job as executive director for 8 years.
Yeah, 2015, right? Yeah.
I was the first ever staff person, and before that, I've always been mountain biking for 30 plus years. So
you're OG from the beginning.
I am an old G. Is that old grandma? I'm not a grandma yet.
I think it stands for original gangster.
Original gangster, but
I'm teasing, but yeah, OG, whatever. I have been riding that long, raced for some time. We can talk. That's another thing. But I was volunteering with some various organizations that were involved in some, state parks and different things, and kind of got involved that way. And have always been a camper and was a backpacker back in the day, and different kinds of cycling and different outdoor activities. And
Susie, have you done the Pacific Coast Trail or parts of it?
Pacific Crest Trail on foot?
On foot?
Yes.
Very cool.
I have small parts of it. I've never been a through hiker. That's too much. Never been a through hiker. That's too long to be outside.
Yep. Well, we have a lot of. Yeah. No, go ahead. I didn't want to cut you off. So I have done other things in my life. I have done a lot of volunteering. I taught elementary school for 10 years. Nice.
Oh, right on.
I'm an art history major, so that really comes in handy for trail advocacy and, erosion control and hydrology. It's useful.
Wow.
I can't tell if you're joking or not at this moment. Are you being sarcastic? Okay.
I'm being sarcastic.
So art history and hydrology.
I'm not.
There must be something I don't know about this.
You're like, did you major in forestry? No, I'm an art history major.
Art history. Okay.
So I've done a lot of things in my life, but that kind of lends itself to managing quickly moving, evolving nonprofit, I suppose.
So wearing a lot of hats.
Wearing a lot of hats, being involved in a lot of different aspects of nonprofit management and fundraising and all that stuff. I think it's good to be kind of a jack of all trades. Event planning, all that stuff.
Yep.
So
I'm just amazed. I spent some time perusing the website, and which actually is like one of the most misused words in the English language. Do you know that?
What is it?
Because peruse, I think that the accepted understanding is it like to briefly look through, but it actually means to read in depth.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm not kidding. It's actually so.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah, maybe we taught something here.
Yeah.
Susie, do you have a nickname?
I don't.
No, nothing.
Nothing.
I don't really. I mean, the usual. Everybody, I have a few people that might call me Susie Q, but that's pretty.
Susie Q.
That's pretty. No one calls you Murph or anything like that for the Murphy.
Murph. No, not so much.
I have a friend back in Wisconsin named Dave Murphy, and that was his nickname.
Call him Murph.
Yeah.
Oh, the Murph. Yeah.
Yeah, the Murph.
Well,
yeah.
That's good. That usually my husband. I mean, I married into the Murphy clan. So
I married into the Murphy clan.
Always, my husband and his brothers have all those Murph nicknames.
Yeah,
so.
sure. Yeah, I'm born with that.
Living here in the Sonoran Desert, San Diego is kind of like our summertime retreat, right? I'm sure you guys get sick of all the Arizonans coming out.
I am aware.
You've seen the Arizona plates.
So much so that we actually did an episode on Mission Beach.
Yep.
And talked about why you should vacation in Mission Beach, drive there, park your car, and never take your car out again because you can ride your bike everywhere.
Because everybody will razz you if you have zoner plates. That's why.
Oh yeah.
Well, I've never thought about that, but that is probably part. But no, the whole thing was really cool because literally they parked their car and didn't have to worry about parking the whole time, and you guys got around.
Yeah, we just
everywhere
on a bike.
That's great.
And they could see. The perspective is so much better on two wheels, right? The air blowing through your hair, under your helmet, whatever.
Well, you don't have to worry about trying to park your car down there.
Yep.
I mean, if you want to go to a restaurant or a bar or whatever, it's much easier.
Speaking of bars, I don't know if you heard the polar bear that walked into the bar and he said to the bartender, he says, can I have a rum and Coke? And the bartender says, why the pause? And the polar bear says,
I was born with them.
I was born with them, you know.
Sorry, dad jokes are one of our things on this podcast, and Mike's like the dad joke guy. So if you have any you want to throw in at any time, you don't need to let us know.
But Josh, you already knew that one. Josh, you were just talking about you were very impressed about when you were perusing the website, and then we went down a rabbit hole of definitions. Did we ever finish that thought?
Yeah, no, I was amazed at the depth and breadth of SDMBA and everything that you guys are involved in, and how small your staff is, and how you're able to manage all that. And I got to imagine that's crazy. And I want to learn all about SDMBA. But before we get there, maybe for our listeners who are from all over the world, you can give us a little bit of a overview on like what's mountain biking like? What are the trails like in San Diego?
Oh, okay. Well, San Diego is a really unique place. Obviously, we're, southwest corner of the United States. We always tease, but it's true. We live in a desert.
Yep.
It's pretty arid here. We had a very wet winter last winter. But, things, it never seems to just rain the right amount, right?
It's either way too much or way too little.
Not enough or way too much all at the same time. So, but it is, for just like a summary of the area, it is the desert. And I spent the night out in Anza-Borrego Desert last night, and it was beautiful. Nice. Beginning of the desert season, gorgeous, and rode our bikes around a little bit, checking out some things. But our, obviously we have the beach, and then different ecosystems that go up to, into the inland valleys, and then the foothills, and then eventually, even just an hour from my house, I can reach a trailhead up in the Cleveland National Forest, which has pine trees and meadows and nice campgrounds and nice single track, including the Noble Canyon Trail, which is kind of our premier trail, which is within the forest. And a lot of people shuttle it. It's about a 10.5-mile downhill.
Yeah, we had Joanna Yates on, who is, I don't know if you know that name, but she's like a pretty,
sounds familiar.
Yeah. So she's out of Sedona, Arizona. We had her and her husband on, and we asked them what their top 10 trails in the whole United States. They travel all over the US and Canada, and Noble was I think in the top 5 for sure. Nice.
Yeah. It's rugged, and it goes from the pine forest, and you feel like you go through, I don't know how many, it's probably like 3 or 4 distinct, kind of ecosystems, habitats, vegetation. And, it's super great. It's very popular.
How long does Noble take to get through?
Well, the fast guys probably do it in under 2 hours for sure.
What about like average Joes, like Mike?
An average Joe?
Yeah.
3 to 3.5 hours, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Especially if you stop. There's some nice shady places with some water going through, and stop to take pictures or whatever.
Sounds like a bucket list ride for sure.
Some people do that, I hear. So anyway, that's kind of our premier big, downhill trail in the forest. And we have trails of all different kinds that are managed by federal agencies, state agencies, and then local jurisdictions and other agencies. So it's San Diego County is a big place.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. From North County to, the middle of the county down to South County where I live, and then East County all the way out to the desert, out towards, like Yuma, all the way, ends at the river. Right. So
does San Diego County go that far? Does it go all the way out past Alpine?
Imperial County is our county to the east.
Okay.
And so, yeah, as you're driving east towards you guys, towards Arizona, you run across the border out there near Yuma. So, yeah, it is a big place. It's very diverse in a lot of different ways. Just habitat, vegetation, terrain, yeah, and then all the people who manage those lands in between. And another thing that's this will lead to other conversations. We have all these different agencies and land managers. We also have the most Indian reservations for any county in the country.
Oh, wow.
No idea.
The most designated Indian reservations. And we also have, and I haven't checked this lately, but I've always heard, I don't know how these things change, how quickly these things change, but we also have the most federally listed endangered species.
Oh, wow.
Both plants and animals of any county in the country.
Wow.
Oh, gosh.
So that's,
I can't imagine.
fun.
Yeah.
So the ramifications of those things are fairly predictable when it comes to trying to build new trails.
Yeah,
right?
that's where your art history major comes in.
Right.
for trail,
Exactly.
trail advocacy.
Yeah,
I was
federally listed endangered species. Yes.
I was scrolling through the 26 projects they have.
I kept scrolling. Same
I
thing.
was
I'm
like,
how many
oh my
are
God.
there?
And in there, you list out all the different land managers, and I'm like, oh my God, that is crazy. How many different organizations?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you've talked to some other advocacy organizations, and there's some that may work with 2 or 3 different jurisdictions, like a county and a city, or maybe a state park or something, or a regional park or something. There's some that just work with the Forest Service, like in their area. That's it. And we have over 20. So
I mean, in Tucson, like in Southern Arizona, anyways, the way we have it kind of broken up is there's like one organization, Torca, that works with the Forest Service, and one organization that kind of works with the county and everything else. And they specialize in that and maintain that relationship. I can't imagine the job of dealing with all the different land. I mean, how do you even keep it all straight?
Yeah.
It's a lot. Just keeping track of where you are and advocating and talking about future plan, short-term plans, long-term plans, keeping track of staff changes, which is always an issue at anywhere.
Yeah, because relationships matter, and as people change out, you got to develop new relationships, and then you're starting over a lot of times, and that's tough.
Yeah. So does that kind of give you guys an overview?
No, that helps a lot.
Before you go to this question, I've got some buddies that I stole from San Diego, pulled them to Tucson, and we've got a major employer here, and I was able to keep them in the desert, like the Sonoran Desert, for a couple of years, but then they eventually want to migrate back to the beach. But they tell me, and we got them infected with the mountain bike bug, and they tell me that the trails are like real steep, like a lot of up, a lot of down. Is that fair? Is that a fair assessment?
We have a lot of topography here. Like it's just the terrain. Once you get away from the beach and get pretty much immediately, I mean, even just along the 5 corridor, right? So the Interstate 5 goes north and south. Just getting out of Pacific Beach and then heading into the canyons, the finger canyons that lead up into Claremont, for people that are heading. Most of the canyons are facing east to west, right? So all these finger canyons, and that's really what makes the character of San Diego neighborhoods what they are, and communities, is these finger canyons everywhere.
That's super cool.
And so there's there's formal parks that are open space parks that are these canyons are made up of, and there's been decades of different sorts of uses over hundreds of years, or
the land uses,
150 years, land uses, cattle range, agriculture, sand mining, awful things that have happened in these canyons, and some of them have gotten preserved, thank goodness. And so we have this east to west connectivity. Just literally east of Pacific Beach, across on the east side of the 5, you start seeing these canyons, and there's trails there that people use for recreation. Most all the trails are multi-use, right? So biking, hiking, dog walking, trail running, equestrian use here and there, not everywhere, but some places have equestrian use allowable as well. And so we are a lot of the time working in these urban canyons when we're working close to town.
Urban canyons. It's very, because when we're driving, as a tourist, right, we're driving through, and I didn't put my finger on that, not pun intended, on the finger canyons, but I was trying to figure out like what those were, and that's what they are. They're finger canyons in the urban setting. And so what you're saying is there's actually trails up in there that I just didn't see at times when I'm driving along I-5.
Most likely. I mean, when I go to a new town and I'm a passenger and my husband's driving, I just turn on trail forks and I look, I'm like, oh, there's trails over there. There's trails over there. Yeah. And then sometimes we'll stop if we have time.
Yeah. Go check them out.
Yeah. So in San Diego, if you drive up and, north to south on any highway, really, the 805 or the 5, and you would turn on trail forks, I mean, you can see where the trails are.
Okay.
They are, some are connected through, obviously the canyons are formed. Again, my art history major comes in handy.
Right.
Geology.
Yep.
They're usually watersheds, right? There's a stream or a river, San Diego River, or the San Diego River, or Penasquitos Creek, or whatever it is, the Otay River, that form these watershed valleys or canyons. Even Mission Valley, the middle of San Diego, Mission Valley is a San Diego River. Right. It's a watershed.
Yeah. Sure.
So the canyons that aren't developed, Mission Valley is developed because there's, an IKEA and a Snapdragon Stadium and shopping centers.
Hey, you mentioned one thing, and we've got a pretty healthy, I don't know why, but I do know why. We have a pretty healthy listeners, a crew of like BMX listeners. Yeah. And you mentioned Claremont. And so I just want to give a shout out to the Claremont YMCA with their skater cross. If you haven't been there, if you're a BMX rider, you should go check it out. It's pretty amazing.
Well, and Kearney BMX, Tyler Brown, he kills it. Tyler Brown runs the Kearney BMX and Chula Vista BMX as well, and he's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. And then also like the OB skate park. I think there's like, I don't know, there's a ton of skate parks in San Diego. You guys it's pretty amazing. Well, your skate park scene is awesome. Tony Hawk, he does that. But OB is great. Actually, in our last trip there, Scanner was my son was riding his BMX bike, and they get some great bowls there. And then the skater cross is super unique.
Yeah, we can talk about bike parks too, because we have a lot of BMXers that hang out at the bike parks that we.
Yes, I've been to one of your bike parks down south.
Sweetwater.
I think so. Yeah, and it's kind of like built on a hill, and you kind of climb up and then go down, and it was a blast.
So are there trails like you manage? Like, do you have any like number? Like, how many miles of trail do you guys manage?
Everybody always asks that question. I would love for somebody to take on that project and figure that out. It's just there's so many jurisdictions, and they all have their own numbers. Like the county will give a number, but the problem we always have, like if the county says we have X hundred miles of trail, or a regional park says we have X number miles of trail. The problem is they count old ranch roads, double track, fire roads, energy easement roads. And we're like, that's not a trail.
Yeah, we're talking about single track.
Yeah. So there's two different questions, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So on your website, it says over 1,800 members have joined the San Diego Mountain Biking Association. So, I mean, that is quite a force multiplier there of all those folks. You mentioned like the short-term and long-term projects. So you're building new trails all the time, but you're also maintaining what's already there.
So actually when we do, every couple of years, we'll do like a member survey, and we'll do like a member survey, and then we'll put the same questions out to the public. Yeah. So we have kind of two separate
perspectives,
data. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And always, people really want us to maintain the trails we already have, because they've been neglected. I mean, they're neglected by the agencies, by the cities that don't value them for the amenity that they are. Mm-hmm. And so it's always a high priority that people want us to help maintain the things that already exist and make them better. Mm-hmm. And every once in a while, I mean, obviously we'd all like new trails and we'd love to, be building new trail all the time, but it's very, building new trails here is difficult. The plans take a long time. We're in the middle of many, several different multi-year plans that are, 6, 7, 8, 10 years in. Yeah. And one of these days, and they come like a small connector this past year, the beginning of the beginning of this year, we built a small connector, which had been in the plans for 8 or 9 years. And because of development and different things, this is in Penasquitos in one of the canyons. And it's nothing glamorous. It's nothing sexy. Like, it's just a small connector that allows people to make a different loop than they were able to do legally before.
But that's a big deal.
Right? And it is a big deal, but it's not like it's some, jump line in the middle of, it's like, it's just it's a connector trail that's important for the people who live in those neighborhoods who want to get up there to wherever they're going.
Yeah. I mean, we hear this time and time again from the trail builders, trail maintainers, trail developers, folks that work with land managers, that maintaining the existing infrastructure is like such a huge priority. Cause they can get out of shape really, really quickly. Yeah. And it's a mountain of work just to keep them, in good shape.
It is. And we have a lot of our areas that have these, we're the bane of our existence is these old ranch roads, right? That the county or the city or whoever wants to call them trails. And they're on awful alignments that were dug into the ground by probably a old truck or something 100 years ago.
Yep.
And they're terrible.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be there. They shouldn't be trails. They should be shut down and then a reroute made somehow, like a nice alignment to go up or down the terrain that would be enjoyable instead of a straight up and down scar on the land.
Sure.
Right. So we have that problem in a lot of areas, and we try. The other problem is sometimes those roads are energy. They're like SDG&E, which is our,
energy company. Yep.
Yeah. San Diego Gas and Electric. Like, those are their access roads. So they have to be a road because the trucks have to get to the power lines.
Yep.
Sure.
So those are unavoidable, but sometimes they let us have the connectors to ride, the easement to ride on those roads. But so maintenance is super important. And for us, we're making some inroads, especially with the city of San Diego, on some things that have been neglected for a very long time. Alignments that are bad. So we're starting to be able to do some reroutes in certain places and make things more enjoyable and safer and even a little more fun for everybody. Okay. Like, for everybody that's using the trails.
Multi-level.
Susie, you've used the word a couple times. You've used the word alignment. Can you define that for us? Because I haven't heard that before.
So if you're planning a new trail or you're planning a reroute, or just talking about an existing trail, the alignment is just the corridor of the trail on the ground.
Okay.
So if it's a single track, you're only talking like it's, 24 to 36 inches wide, hopefully. And it's just the alignment that it takes through the topography and the plants and, how it gets where it's going.
I think that's an art history.
That's an art history term?
I think that's coming from you.
You've applied art history to trail building.
I think it is. So,
it transfers a lot. But in planning a new trail, if you've ever been out on a project where trail planners and builders are marking a new trail or a reroute, they'll use the little pin flags, little colored flags, and they'll mark it out. They'll use a clinometer, which is a little a thing. You have to have two people, and you're measuring the grade to make sure the grade isn't too steep.
Right.
Making sure you have
for water,
not more than a 6 or 7% grade over a certain stretch.
Yep.
Going up and down. It's technical. But building a new trail, if you've ridden in places that are able to build, larger expanses of new trail, like,
Bentonville.
Bentonville. All those trails.
For the record,
I've been there twice. It's super fun.
I haven't been there yet. Is it worth it?
Yeah, it's very fun.
I was planning on taking the summer and moving my family to Bentonville for 6 weeks.
There you go.
Just to go check it out. But I think
there's a lot to do.
I think we're going to get a dog. And if we get a dog, I'm a little worried about bringing a puppy across the country. So,
that's
cool.
True.
We'll see.
Anyway, it's fun. But if you ride any trail, and there may be some in Arizona, I'd have to kind of look for one, but a trail that's built with modern sort of specifications and attention to the grade reversals and the erosion and the drainage, it shouldn't really require a lot of maintenance over time.
Yeah.
Right. That's the whole goal.
If you build something right the first time.
Right. If you build it right the first time, it doesn't require a lot of maintenance. And we have a couple of examples here in town. There's a trail up in our Cuyamaca State Park that's about, it's close to 3 miles long. And it was built a collaboration with some SDMBA people and state park people. And that trail was built using, really good planning and good alignments and good grade reversals and drainage, and it has one bridge in it, and it doesn't really except for trimming, like the plants
brushing.
Yeah, except for trimming and brushing, it really doesn't need a lot of tread work.
Yeah, we're lucky. We've got both. We've got a lot of great trails that have been designed and built according to all the standards that you just mentioned that don't require a lot. You can talk about McKinsey, a lot of stuff they're doing at the Arizona Trail, everything they're doing on Tucson Mountain Park. That stuff, like, it's just built really well. But then we've got the trails that, for the most part, started out as what we call social trails. I don't know if you guys use the same term, but guys that didn't know how to build trail went and built trails. And like Fantasy Island as an example, it's a hot mess. It's a hot mess. Yeah. Yeah. It's for maintenance.
It can almost be dangerous as well. You show up one time after a big rain. You don't know
what to expect.
Yeah, you can get hurt. Yeah. Susie, you've got 26 projects listed on your site. Are there a couple that you're excited about? You maybe could cherry pick and tell us a little bit about? One or two?
Yeah, I mean, some of those, everything we do, things can be really short term.
Yep.
Right. Like just planning for this winter season, which is starting right now we have a 2-person full-time paid trail crew. Right. So we have a trails coordinator and a trail specialist. So that is great because they're working on projects. They plan a year ago for projects that are now going to happen this winter.
Yep.
Right. So they're always working on these, and those for us are fairly short term. Right.
Okay.
If we're in the spring and we're like, what are we going to work on when the rain comes? Mm-hmm. Right. Those have to be planned months out so we can schedule everything.
So you get more rain like in the fall time and the winter time.
Yeah.
And so you guys want to do trail maintenance or any kind of trail work at that time because it's easier to work with the land than when it's dry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And we have to worry about bird nesting season and all kinds of fun things.
So what? Yeah. So talk me through that. What do you mean by that? Bird nesting season.
So the biologists, if we're working on a project where we're building a new trail or even building a bridge or doing a reroute or whatever, we have to, everything has to go through the city specialists, right? So the biologists or the archaeologists or the public works or the hydrologists or whatever. So they come in, they all look at the project. Mm-hmm. And if it's February 15th for us these days is when bird nesting season starts.
Oh, wow.
And it's not to say that you can't do a project during that season, but you have to have a bird monitor checking.
Like a person watching for the birds?
A person checking to
make sure you're not disturbing the nesting birds, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And that can stop the work if the bird decides to be in the wrong or to make its home.
Well, that's something we've never heard on this podcast. Bird nesting interrupting. Interruptions. We haven't heard that. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a thing.
The collaboration is incredible, what you have to pull together.
When people, speaking of social trails, we call them unsanctioned.
Okay.
Generally, we try to use the word unsanctioned because we hope that someday they may be sanctioned.
Yes.
Because that's kind of a push sometimes to say, like, look, these trails have been here for 35 years. They're before all these rules and regulations and everything came up. And so sometimes that can work. It's working in other parts of California to say, like, if we're going to do a trails inventory or trails master plan, like these trails should be considered to be sanctioned. So that's why we use the term unsanctioned.
Unsanctioned. Okay.
Yeah. So we do have that here in San Diego. And like you said, sometimes they're well done. And sometimes they're not well done. So,
Susie, who is riding your? Forgive my ignorance, but when we go to San Diego, it's because we're in a desert, right? No water around, right? So we go. It's like we want to go to the beach.
You're making fun of her desert now.
I know. I'm not. I'm sorry.
Come on,
I didn't mean to say it's not a real desert.
Like disparaging her desert. That's not cool.
I didn't mean it to come out like that.
Yeah. Like we're trying to get out of the desert.
I was just last night in our Anza Borrego State Park desert.
That's
which
a
is
straight
like
up
a real,
desert.
That's a real desert.
It's like 30
it
miles
doesn't have-
east of the beach. You're in the desert, right? So it's not that.
it doesn't have saguaro. It doesn't have saguaro cactuses,
Yep.
but it has lots of cholla and ocotillos.
Yeah,
and all that.
So, but we visit to San Diego.
We're trying to get out of the desert.
Yeah.
We go to San Diego.
Yeah.
And so who is riding your trails? Is a local community of mountain bikers? Are there a lot of tourists, from around the world that know about your awesome bike scene, or everybody?
It's a little bit of everything. I mean, I don't know everybody, but I mean, you were saying we have about 1,800 members, but it's estimated there's 50,000 mountain bikers in San Diego County. Wow. So
how many people are in San Diego? How big is that population?
3.5 million.
3.5 million. Oh, wow. 50,000. That is a huge population.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Wow. So all you guys out there that aren't guys and girls that aren't members yet that live in
sign
San
up.
Diego.
Hey, so
call to action.
By the way, there's all kinds of perks. It's $49 a year. Do I have that right? And then also, if you're under 18, it's $15 a year. And there's a whole bunch of VIP packages that you can get that have like scaling level of like awesomeness that come along with them.
Yeah, and we do fun things with our regular members and special offers and benefits and discounts, and then fun things with our VIP members as well through the year as we can. So that's fun. So yeah, I mean, we have lots of great support, but we could always use more. So membership is one of the ways that we raise money to pay for things. But as far as who's writing, I mean, we have a lot of all different kinds of writers. Lots of new people into the sport for the obvious reasons I'm sure you've talked about on other episodes with COVID, like lots of new people out on the trails.
Yep.
And lots of people like me who have been writing for over 30 years. So we have quite a combination. We have more than several, NICA or youth cycling high school teams in town as well.
It's awesome, isn't it? That's an awesome, recent thing that's come on.
My husband and I coached for a few years ago, even though we didn't have our kids were older. We didn't have kids on the team.
We both coached as well.
Great.
It's so fun. Yeah. So we have, those families and kids, students, athletes getting involved. And we have a big women's group with a group called Girls Gone Riding.
Okay, cool.
Which is has 8 chapters around the West and one in Kingman, Arizona as well. So
okay,
but just that women's group, we have a private Facebook group page for our San Diego chapter, and it's 1,500 women, and that's all mountain biking, no road biking, no other things. That's all mountain biking. It's 1,500 women.
Wow.
Yeah,
so and then we have lots of smaller, just riding groups in town that organize their rides through their own Facebook groups or their own meetup pages or whatever. So, and I try to stay in touch with those leaders, like people who are, influencers and have a big following on their Facebook pages. Like I stay in touch with those guys and if they have questions, I try to answer them. And, there's a lot of stuff going on that we don't plan necessarily SDMBA, but there's always lots going on. We have a kids group, another nonprofit called Sprock Kids.
Oh, that's cool.
Here in San Diego, and they're kind of catering to the kids that are not quite old enough to be in the high school leagues yet.
Okay. So kind of elementary school and middle school age.
Mm-hmm. Right. So they're doing, family rides, guided rides, clinics. We do a thing called Shred Fest, and we kind of share equipment. Like we have some things that we share back and forth. And so that's awesome because they're really expanding, and the exciting thing is they're expanding into neighborhoods through some grants that we've worked on together to get their program. They have a big trailer full of bikes, right? So they can go to a park in other parts of San Diego that maybe don't have access. And so getting some kids on bikes, it's really great.
Get them hooked.
Very inclusive. And like you mentioned before, trying to keep the different levels, like this, I don't know, was it skill levels or from beginning up to advanced?
Like our guided rides or things like that?
No, like just your trails that you have set up from, I think even like the bike parks, pretty advanced. And
San Diego has a little bit of something for everybody. There's super easy trails for beginners, in various parts of the county. There's beginner trails, there's intermediate stuff, there's plenty of stuff to work up to that's rugged and more chunky. in some of the city parks. Black Mountain is probably an area that's known as being a little more solid intermediate.
Okay.
Or advanced, just depends on, people have their own opinions about what's black and what's blue. And
Yeah, right.
We know that.
Yep. So you mentioned some of your experiences as an OG rider, from racing up to now. What's your thing? Camp,
Bike packing.
bike packing.
Yeah.
Oh, I just barely dabble. I really just admire the people who, bike pack. I think it's just so great.
What was how was your racing experience? Like, how far did you get? Any good stories from that?
Well, my husband, in the mid 90s, we were on vacation, and he had just been riding so much when our daughter was little, and we had just been riding our local trails and meeting people. And we had a friend who ran the local bike shop. His family ran the bike shop, and we started kind of hanging out down there a lot. And we were going on vacation, and we were coming back through Utah, and there was this race at Bryan Head, and I signed my husband up and paid for it. And I'm like, I paid for it, so we have to be there on a certain there on race day.
Josh loves Bryan Head.
I love Bryan Head. That's like my snowboard
but
destination.
The altitude.
Yeah, I get altitude sickness every time I go there.
Oh,
for sure.
It's so high. So anyway, he did the race. We signed him up beginner, whatever age category he was, signed him up beginner, and he won the race by like 10 minutes. And
Sandbagger.
All these,
Just a little.
Local guys, all these local Utah guys are like, Sandbagger. Who is this guy from Chula Vista? So he's
brought
like,
in
no,
the
I've
ringer.
never really raced. He used to race some road, but anyway, he did really great, and we won some prizes, and we were all excited. Well, right after the race, he says, I'm never doing that again. And then 10 years later, we were still,
still racing,
doing it. So he's a cross country guy. We were both cross country guys, and I started racing in about 95 and did some really easy races to start. And then we started with the bike shop. We started racing down in Baja. Baja
really?
has the whole Campeonato series, and so those were once a month, and they were super fun and really cheap. Like for $10, you got your race entry, you got a t-shirt, you got tacos, you got beer.
Wow. Tacos and beer and a t-shirt. Say no more.
Amazing trophies. Like the clubs, each club would have like the Tijuana clubs and the Ensenada clubs and Tecate. They would compete on who could have the best race course and the best tacos and the best, t-shirts.
It sounds like a fun environment.
The trophies were all handmade. I still have some of them.
Are they still doing these?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
So it's very grassroots. It's very fun. And my husband grew up in TJ when he was little, and so he speaks Spanish. And we would just had a ball. We would all take caravans of people down to go race down there. Now, racing there, when I kind of cut my teeth down there, the courses are rugged. They are rough, usually cut in by a motorcycle, and they're not groomed in any way.
It's gnarly.
They are rugged. Old ranch somewhere,
Yeah.
And so when I came up here and then I started racing more in like Big Bear or different places, I felt like, oh, these are like, they removed all the rocks. Like, these are groomed trails. So that kind of gave me a little bit of a heads up. And but I never really, I got up to the sport category. I never went far beyond that. Yeah. My husband raced for the like community grassroots team of Cannondale. And so we got to go around, went to Sea Otter every year. We still go to Sea Otter every year, see everybody. It's super fun.
Yeah.
And I got pulled into doing a little bit of downhill. And then and how old I am, they invented this thing called Super D.
Yep.
Which I don't know if you guys have heard of Super D.
For sure.
So Super D was kind of the precursor to enduro.
Yep.
And I realized I could do a downhill race and be done in like, 3 or 4 minutes. Or a Super D race and be done in like 7 or 8 or 9 minutes. And a cross country race, you're out there for like 2.5 hours. I'm like, oh, So Super D was great. It was right up my alley because it's a little bit of pedaling, but mostly down. Mm-hmm. And that was really perfect for me. Like I could do that.
And you did some 24-hour racing as well. Is that right?
And 24 hours. Yeah. We used to do 24-hour races as well. And those are always they're a hoot, so much fun.
Did you ever do the 24 hours in the old Pueblo here in Tucson, Arizona?
You know what? We never did. And I know I just had lunch recently with Todd
Sadow.
Todd Sadow. Yeah. Because he lives here in San Diego now. So we had lunch a month ago or so.
Yeah.
talking about event planning and things. But he, we have had friends. I don't know why this is one we never hit. I don't know why. Cause it's great.
You got to come out. It's in February. You guys should come out and do it. It's amazing.
Yeah. That would be fun. So anyway, that was kind of my race thing. And I just had a good time, met lots of friends that we still ride and we're still friends, women that were just amazing racers, some who went on to be pro downhillers and dual slalom racers and things, and still see them, and people that I idolized back in the day, Lee Donovan, and these people that now I get to, I
get to talk to them. I
can talk to her and she helps me with things, and we kind of collaborate on things, like people like that, you think that, 20 years ago or 25 years ago, you look up to them like, oh, there's such amazing women, female role models doing these things. And now they're working in the industry, or they're coaching, or they're doing these different things, and we run across each other. And it's just so fun to be around such a great group of people for so long.
That's awesome. That's one of the questions that I had for you was, do you do any, and it sounds like you do, but maybe there's more. You talked about Todd and some of the other amazing women in the sport that you've worked with. I was curious, like how much benchmarking, partnership, like experience sharing do you do with like other folks from other areas that are in your same kind of role?
Loads of work. And there's even some people in Arizona that I talk to about different things, including e-bikes, but let's not go down that rabbit hole right now.
We don't want to talk about e-bikes. I had that question, but it was like way at the bottom. If I ran out of questions, e-bikes was going to be the question, we'll just leave it alone.
Bikes are bikes. Let's just talk about trails. But even I talked to some people in Arizona that are working on different things, and go to, see Otter and see a lot of advocates and industry people, go to, like, we have a conference every year in California that's put on by state parks. That's called the California Trails and Greenways Conference. Okay. And so a lot of trail organizations and people, advocates, go there, and we, all the important conversations happen when we're, having lunch or having a beer.
Over a beer. Yeah. Do you miss Interbike?
Do I miss Interbike? No, not really. See, I was funner.
Oh, we were going to go this year. We didn't go. We'll go.
Oh, you have to go.
Yeah, we'll go.
I mean, I went to Interbike. I didn't go in the early days. Right. I went the last 3 years. It was in Vegas, and I went to the one they had in Reno.
Was the one? I didn't go to the one in Reno. Was that any good?
We went to a good party. We went to a good.
That's the important.
Who put on that party? It was 100%. It was really great. It was weird. Everybody thought it was weird.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. But you partner a lot with other advocacy groups and share notes and figure out what's working, what's not working.
Yep. And then a thing that happened during COVID, when we were all thinking of things that we were going to work on, since we couldn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
A lot of us that would run across each other and knew of each other working, groups that work in LA or work in Santa Cruz or work in the Bay Area or whatever, we would talk, and we kind of knew each other. We're friends on Facebook, and we would go to the conference every year, and we would, for like 2 or 3 years leading up to before COVID, we were like, California, IMBA's really not covering California. They never have. They don't seem to have the capacity to take on California, because California is just a beast. For many
something on its own. Yeah.
Many reasons. And so we would sit around and be like, well, California should just have its own, state level advocacy group. And then we were like, well, I guess we're the ones that have to do that.
Yeah.
So in 2020, we formed another nonprofit called the California Mountain Biking Coalition. And so we're going on our 4th year on that. And
CAMTB.org.
Yep. CAMTB.org. And it is, we have 30 member organizations. So 30 trail organizations, mountain biking organizations from around the state that are now chapters of CMTB. We've worked closely with IMBA on really planning this thing. And it's based on models. I mean, Washington State has Evergreen. That's a statewide advocacy organization.
Right.
There's Sorba is in the Southeast, right? And they have multiple chapters in the Southeast. There's NEMBA, which is New England Mountain Bike Association. And we're all of those regional organizations or statewide organizations, most of them, not all, are in some way still working collaboratively with IMBA, right?
Yep.
IMBA is focusing on federal legislation, on really high level things that affect the entire country,
Yep.
and some funding and grant programs and things like that. But California, we've been really excited at that people are really excited about having a louder voice for mountain biking and for trails in Sacramento, right? We have an executive director, paid executive director for California. Having him be able to go around and meet all the different organizations, find out their needs, help these organizations, which are, small, medium, and large, with their just organizational questions. Where do we get insurance?
Yeah.
Right.
That's a big
deal. If we want to hire an executive director, what do we have to work towards? Like, what do we have to do? But besides that, just advocating for more and better trails for California, working on legislation that will help provide more funding, or just work through some of the red tape, especially with state parks. California state parks needs to get their act together, and we're trying to light a fire under their butt to make that happen. And we have some initiatives working on with the local organizations on some big things in state parks, things like bringing unsanctioned trails into the system, right? If there's a trail that's been used for 35 years, like, let's put it into a plan and make sure that
people are riding it anyways. You might as well sanction it.
Exactly. So CMTB has been really great, and it really energizes me to talk to all these different people from around the state and learn what they're doing and tell them what we're doing, and we can share all kinds of information. So it's just raising everybody up. And we kind of talk about it like CMTB. It's not really like an umbrella. We don't want to talk about us like an umbrella. We're more like trying to provide the foundation for these organizations to do the work in their neighborhood, like me in San Diego, but then work with state parks and the Forest Service at a really high level at the state level, right?
Yeah.
And work in Sacramento, talk to the elected officials, talk to the assemblymen and the congressmen about why trails are important, why they should invest. And there's a lot of money coming in. There's a lot of money coming in for trail stuff.
So you're basically helping them with the playbook to set up their kind of grassroots local place, but then also amplifying their voice in a bigger way to represent a bigger part of the community, which we know just in California, just in San Diego is 50,000. Throughout California, who knows? Right?
Oh, yeah, it's millions of people.
Millions of people.
I love how you worded that. You want to raise everybody up, which benefits the community. Yeah. And, riders and everybody involved with the bike. So love that.
Yeah, it's good. We just had a retreat up in Santa Cruz. There's a famous riding area.
That sounds rough.
It was pretty rough. There's in the mountains.
I love Santa Cruz. It's like,
have you ridden?
So I was a linguist in the Air Force. And so I went to school in Monterey, California at the Presidio of Monterey, and learned foreign languages. And so I spent a lot of time in Monterey, Santa Cruz, that whole area.
Well, up in the mountains out of Santa Cruz, there's a place called the Soquel Demonstration Forest.
Yeah.
A Soquel. And so it's managed by CAL FIRE, and the Mountain Bikers of Santa Cruz, the group there, which is now known as the Trail Stewardship of Santa Cruz Mountain Trail Stewardship. They got to
work on their name there.
Long story.
They need something catchier.
Anyway, they are a great group, very well funded, highly functioning, and they built these trails in the demo forest. Usually, people just call it the demo forest, but these super purpose built, directional, big giant berms with redwoods. Like, it's just amazing.
Oh, it sounds awesome.
So anyway, we just had a retreat up there, and we had about 15 or so of our California organizations there, and we had Forest Service staff there. We had one of our lobbyist friends there to talk about legislation.
Wow.
And it was great. It was a very productive and fun time.
That sounds awesome.
You mentioned partnerships and the whole collaborative approach to this, which is awesome. On your website, you mentioned something that was really kind of a cool concept. And I don't know if maybe a member of like your group that does this. So if you can't speak to that, don't want to put you on the spot, but the Love Trails, LUV Trails website. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, they're great. You can find them on Facebook or Instagram. It's LUV, right? Love Trails. Mm-hmm. And they're a group that it's a fundraising mechanism where you can sign up, and if you ride anywhere, like if I say I went to Sedona and I rode Sedona and I had a really great day, I can go into Love Trails and I can make a donation to the local group. So Verde Valley or whoever, Sedona is. And I can make a donation through Love Trails and say, hey, I was visiting Sedona. I rode this. It was great. Here's $20, like whatever.
Yeah.
And so people can do that here for San Diego too. And they have a couple of different mechanisms that they use for you to be able to make these like micro donations.
Yeah.
Shavings make a pile.
I saw that you can actually like say, hey, listen, I'm going to do $1 a mile and I can link it to my Strava. And when I go ride, it'll like,
add it up.
Like work out just like, some of the bowling, the bowling things we've done or whatever.
It's
that's
super fun.
cool.
So I'm sure that some of your Arizona groups, I know they are for a fact, Verde Valley for sure, and probably your Sonoran Desert folks, they're hooked in with Love Trails. If they're not, they should be, because you get a little bit of money every month. It just comes in. It's super easy.
Well, so speaking of money, let's talk about some things for SDMBA that you do. So like you have obviously your membership. We've talked about that already. And then you run different things, and right now you're running a donation fundraiser. But it's not just you're giving your money away. You have a chance to win one of 2 Turbo Levo carbon specialized e-bikes. Right. Which, by the way, I actually went on and put $40 to
thank you
guys
for that.
Right, just a little tiny donation.
So we're really honored when a company like Specialized or any of the other, companies, big or small, appreciate the work that the advocacy groups do.
Yeah.
And so these bike giveaways are awesome. And so I've been talking with Specialized for a while. And they gave us 2 Turbo Levo carbon bikes, a medium and a large. So when you make your donation, you can pick if you want to
pick one of the 2,
the medium or the large.
Yep. And I picked the medium for my wife because I'm an extra large, but I was like, hey, my wife is an avid mountain biker.
Nice.
So
yeah. So anyway, that runs through December 20th, and it's $5. You get 1 entry. And if you put in every $20 donation gets you 5 entries.
All right. Yeah. Good luck, Josh.
So, thanks. We're gonna.
It's on the front page of our website. It's pinned on our Facebook and Instagram pages, so people.
And what's your website again?
It's SDMBA.com.
SDMBA.
So
anybody can enter that in the United States, so it doesn't have to be somebody to win from San Diego.
Awesome,
right on. Josh and I did an episode about being prepared. I don't know if we crashed once or something. So like being prepared out in the desert or whatever trail you're on, in bike maintenance and stuff like that. And we mentioned resources on your website that are there. One of them is just outstanding, and that is your trail preparedness list. And so I don't care who you are, wherever you ride, like that is such a thorough list. And then you've got like wet trail ratings, and just
which is something that's totally foreign to us in the real desert.
In the desert, we have to. We just have certain trails here in San Diego that dry better than others, and if it rains any significant amount, even sometimes just a quarter of an inch or a half an inch, in some of the soils where it's more full of clay, they just don't dry out as fast. And there are places that are more like decomposed granite, like, kind of like you guys have in the desert, that drains much better. So we just want people to know, like, if you just absolutely have to go ride after it rains,
go right on a granite trail,
go to these other places and don't go to these places.
That's really smart. And
that's really for the new people, because it messes up the trails and it messes up your bike and don't do that. But the preparedness thing is something very important to me. And that was another COVID. I have a couple of members, a couple of gals that helped me, one who's a doctor and one who's was a PA. And so they helped me kind of with that whole thing. And we did a couple of podcasts and talked about preparedness. And
what's your podcast? What's your podcast called?
It's just called Trail News.
Trail News? Okay.
And it's linked on our website as well in one of the tabs, the communications.
And is it out like anywhere like Spotify?
Yeah, it's on Apple and all the different places.
Cool.
Yeah.
So check out Trail News. We'll put links. We'll put links to all this in the show notes for sure.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah. So the preparedness thing is important because I'm sure like you guys hear stories of people who get out and they don't have enough water or they get lost or they
been there, done that.
We've all done that.
With a few simple things and just knowing if you're not if you've never been an outdoor person or you're new to being out in, a place that's, even if it's the canyon by your house, you still should let somebody know where you are and have the things you need to help yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Yeah, for sure. And where I thought you were going with the Be Prepared was their trail courtesy pledge.
It's my favorite. Right?
It's on there. It's on there. So it's because Be Prepared is one of them. But there's 6 or 5 things on there.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, be nice, say hi.
Yep.
I freaking love that. That's awesome.
Last time we rode, Josh, I don't know if you knew this, but we pulled over for somebody, and they said, "Good morning, hi," and no response.
That's so annoying.
And I didn't, not a big deal, right? But just like you said, smile, say hi, can go a long ways.
Be nice, say hi. Leave no trace. Love that. Like leave the trail the way that you entered the trail.
Yeah.
Share and be aware.
Okay. What is it? Share.
So
share the trail.
Multi-use trails. So you gotta be aware. Like we've learned a lot. We have a lot of equestrian out here in Arizona. Mm-hmm. And so there's a certain way that you should deal with equestrian. With horses, you can spook them on your bike very easily. So that how you approach them, how you deal with that.
Just listen to the rider. Let the rider give you instructions about what they want you to do.
That is exactly.
Sometimes they'll wave you on. They don't care. They're like, well, my horse is fine. Go. Sometimes not. So it's better to give them a wide berth.
Yeah.
But share and be aware. It's also, we tried to write those not only for mountain bikers, but for other people who are out on the trail, people who tend to wear both earbuds for some reason when they're outside in nature that can't hear anything.
We did a whole episode on just, should you listen? Should you play it out loud? How should you have your music on
a little situational awareness goes a long way.
Yeah, it sure does. All right. So from the folks coming from our side of the country to your beautiful side of the country, one of my favorite things is driving over. Is it I-5 at that point? Over Alpine.
Yeah, it's I-8.
I-8.
Thank you. Okay, 8. And one of your 26 projects is, if you could reprioritize it, it'd be awesome to be number 1. But Anderson Truck Trail.
Anderson Truck Trail.
That sounds very exciting. Can you kind of walk us through, what does it take to do like a trail, like something like that?
Well, Anderson Truck Trail is an area that's been around for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. And the main part of the land is part of the Cleveland National Forest.
Okay.
And the trails there have always been fairly advanced. Like, it's not an easy place to ride. Number one, because you have to climb up there in the first place. But then when you turn around and come back down, the trails they're advanced. Okay. I mean, to me, right. I would call them black for the most part.
Okay. So black trails.
Yep.
So the like most all things in San Diego, it's a longer story and it's also multi-jurisdictional.
Okay. Yeah.
So even though most of the area where the trails are that people like to go to is Cleveland National Forest, and they are for the most part on a map and they're legal trails.
Sanctioned.
It's the access into the forest from the bottom, right down by the highway.
Yeah.
To get up there, that's not quite.
Okay.
There's some private property. And then more than several years ago, I want to say it was even before I started this job, there's also Indian tribal land at the top. Mm-hmm. And there were trails that were on tribal land. So people would go all the way into the tribal land to get to the very sort of, I guess, what was considered the top of the trails, and then come down through the forest land. Yeah. And the tribe at a certain point said that's not happening anymore. Okay. And those trails were honestly, they were famous. I'm not going to even say the name of them, but they were very famous and people would come from all over to ride them.
Oh, wow.
And we've grown some pros here in town. Yeah. Kyle and Rachel Straight live in Alpine, and
okay. We actually know them from Claremont.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. Keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I just know it's such a beautiful area, and
yeah. So what's happening there, and this is a very long-term thing, is that gradually the county and another organization that we work with, the San Diego River Park Foundation, because it's within the watershed of the river, are slowly trying to acquire. They have acquired some private parcels in there, but there's more that need to be acquired.
Okay.
And anytime that an entity wants to acquire a property, you can understand the
complexities.
The complications with whoever owns it, the family, what their intentions are with the land.
Yeah.
And so those things can take years of, the county sending a letter every year and being like, hey, if you're thinking about selling, we'd like to get this property so we can improve access to, this open space, blah, blah, blah. So that's what's going on there.
Okay.
Do people still write it? Sure.
Okay.
They do.
Like you said, it's a long-term project.
Yeah. So they are crossing through private property, and we have the buy-in of the river park to open that up because people do hike up there too, and it has has beautiful views, and the Forest Service is in. They're good with it, and the county has said that they wouldn't be opposed to planning to build like a staging area at the bottom, parking and stuff.
Oh,
for
very
everybody.
cool.
Yeah, nice.
Very cool.
But it's a long-term thing.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So Susie, I've got one final question, maybe two final questions for you. What is something that we as a mountain bike community, what is something that we're doing that's distracting from your mission of trail advocacy and giving us the best options to ride? What can we change about our behavior as a mountain bike community?
Oh, I think that, how honest can I be?
You can be as honest as you want to.
I just would like, when anyone is out on a public trail and they're interacting with other trail users, or potentially may run across a ranger at some point. I know people say they never see a ranger, but they're out there.
They're there.
Stop and say hi and get to know. Any mountain biker can get to know who the land manager is, and you'll learn a lot about what's going on. But day-to-day trail use, can I just say, don't be a
jerk.
Don't be a jerk.
Be nice, say hi, just like your
be nice, say hi. It's so easy to just slow down and smile. It's not hard.
Yeah.
Don't scare people. Don't go too fast if you're near a trailhead. If you're within a quarter mile, when you're riding in an area and you leave the parking area, you're going to run into hikers and stuff in the first maybe quarter mile. And then they're going to they're not going to be out farther. So just slow down when you're within a quarter mile of the
don't worry about your Strava segment in the first mile of a ride.
No. And so I just, I can't make everybody do that. But if just people would just realize that they're outside in public with other people, and it would just go a lot farther for them to just, be considerate.
Little things can go a long way.
It's a lot to ask. And then I just, I think the other thing that I learned I did teach elementary school for a while, and that does come in handy, both as I was pretty good at recess duty,
Yeah, it's pretty much like mountain bikers.
Yeah, I could call on those skills. But just education, the education never stops. And when you have even somebody who may have been a trail user for a long time or a mountain biker sometime, it's very difficult to understand what land is federal, what land is state, what land is county. And a lot of the time people just they don't care. They just want to ride their bike. They don't care.
Yeah.
But that's why you should buy a membership to your local trail organization, because we do care and we know those people and we talk to them.
Right.
So it's hard when people, I'll mention the e-bike thing just real quick again. The e-bike rules and classes and all that, from state to state, from park to park, from open space to open space, are so inconsistent and so confusing.
Yeah.
And at this point, people have their e-bike. Mine's sitting right here. I just rode it today in the desert on roads where they're allowed. Throw up their hands and they're like, I'm just going to ride my bike. I just want to ride my bike,
Yeah.
And so it's hard to tell the story of advocacy. So Anderson Truck Trail, for example, it's a long story, right? It's been going on for decades.
Yeah.
And it still has to come to a resolution at some point. But people, they ask a question And you want to give them, as short as you can, but it might be a 10-minute explanation of why a place is complicated or why it's contentious or why it has issues, and the personalities involved and the rules involved and the land acquisitions, and people start to glaze over, right? Like people, it's very detailed. It's very nuanced. Very, very little in this business is black and white, really.
So would it be safe to say, hey, listen, like be nice, say hi.
Yeah.
And like take a minute to understand like the environment and the rules of where you're riding, especially if it's your local trails. Like you should know all the rules and regulations of your local trails. And if you're branching out, take a minute to like do some research and figure out what's okay and what's not. Because you might be messing it up for, other trail users.
Right. And I don't have any, all I can do is say, these are what the land manager would like you to do.
Yep.
And then that's where I stop. Like I can educate you on what the rules are, but I'm not saying yes or no, don't do this or don't do that. It's just, this is what it is. And I will say another thing that for people to keep in mind, as me being an advocate and working now, even at the state level, we have a huge battle in San Diego here and in a lot of other places with conservation groups. Yeah. Right. So Sierra Club, other various conservation groups, preservation groups, land trusts who do not like mountain biking in their areas. Some are fine. Some are great partners, awesome partners, but others have this old bias, this old, very discriminatory attitude. Yeah. Right. 20 years ago, this mountain biker knocked me off my horse, and I'm going to tell that story for the next 50 years. Right.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so we have a real battle of trying to impress upon the powers that be that most mountain bikers are nature lovers. We are environmentalists. We do care. Yeah. We care about the plants and the animals and the habitat, but we want to be out in nature enjoying it. That's why we do this activity.
On a bike.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And that story is very hard for some of these people to understand. Mm-hmm. Right. And so we are trying to pound that drum to say, I can be a mountain biker and an environmentalist at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. So be nice, say hi. Don't give them another excuse to battle. Right. Yeah. Be super cool. Because it pays back in dividends. Well, Susie, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you spending an hour with us here, or an hour and a little bit more than that. Thank you so much. We know you just got off a ride and you just got back, and we screwed up the time zones and all that stuff, but we figured it out. We got together. Hey, it's okay. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Any final thoughts you want to leave our listeners with?
No, I think that's it. Wherever you guys are listening, I bet there's a trail organization in your area. So if you're not a member,
sign up.
Find out where they are and sign up. The membership fees are very low, and it really just helps your organization in your neighborhood have a bigger voice with their local city council or their board of supervisors or whoever it is. So do that. And honestly, just be nice and say hi all the time on the trail. Just smile and say hello.
Nice. Susie, thank you so much.
Thanks, Susie.
Yeah. Thanks you guys.
Can you dig it? Can you dig